Good afternoon, everybody. It's Martha again with another little informational video. Today we're going to talk about powders and blushes and bronzers and highlighters. And so we'll get started right away. First we'll talk about powders. And there's two different kinds of formulas for powders. One would be like a loose powder, like this air spun that has been around for decades. My grandmother used to use it too. The air spun is a pretty large little container here, and it's full of powder, and it has a sifter with little holes punched into it. I had to punch a couple holes a little bit bigger to get the product out. It comes with a puff like this, which I rarely use because I think it gets too much on. I like to use maybe a fluffy brush like this to I get some of the product on my face. Sometimes I tap it into the lid and then just barely tap the brush into the product. Tap some off if you get too much so you don't have, a lot of powder on the brush. You don't want to pack your powder on. You just want to give it a nice light covering. Powders, especially loose powders, can settle into fine lines and wrinkles, and it can really get cakey and just look dry. It can make your dry skin feel drier too. If you have oily skin, you might get away with a little bit more powder, but with dry skin, you just got to really use a light hand. There's also compact powders like this, and which I use most of the time is a compact powder. Again, I would just tap my brush into the product lightly. If I get too much, I just kind of swoop it off at the bottom and apply it onto my face. I also like sometimes to use at the tip of my beauty blender, or I like a little sponge applicator that comes in powders like this. Just tap it into the product and apply it. Now, like a sponge applicator or the beauty blender works really well when you're trying to do like a spot of powder, like under the eyes to set a concealer. That really works well because you can just concentrate it right where you need it. If you're going to put powder on all over your face, then you could use the fluffy brush and just a little bit to kind of lightly dust the face to get your makeup set, you get your foundation set. But always use powder with a light hand so you don't get too much, because it can look cakey and it can really make dry skin even seem drier. The next thing we're going to talk about would be like a contour. You can get cream contours and you can get powder contours. I don't use contours that much, but I do have this little one here that came in an Ipsy bag, and it's just a little bit darker than my skin. You could just get a powder or something like that that's a little bit darker than your skin if you want to try it. And taking a brush that's got a firm bristles like this. I use this mainly for blush, but just for this particular demonstration, tap it into the product and then look for the hollows of your cheeks. You can suck in your cheeks like this, and then you can apply the contour into that area. You always want to blend it out. I know a lot of people apply contour to all around their face. They really sculpt out their face with contour and highlighter, and I just don't do that. But sometimes I'll take a little bit into the hollows of my cheeks to kind of give a little bit of a contour there. Of course, like I said, you want to always blend it out so you don't have two streaks showing. A lot of people like to use bronzers. I don't use bronzers too much because they're usually too dark or too orangey or just fake looking. But I did find this light shade called Reserve Your Cabana from Wet n Wild Color Icon, and it's really not terribly dark at all for me, but it looks very pretty. It kind of gives a sun-kissed glow if you want that. Like you would apply a bronzer kind of like on the areas on your face that would naturally be touched or kissed by the sun, like, you know, the temples, the cheekbones, your nose, maybe around your chin. So you just get a nice sun-kissed glow. Again, you want to blend it out with a fluffy brush. Bronzers work great also for a little bit of just cheek color if you're on the go and don't have time to apply a lot of blush and everything else. Just give a little dab of bronzer and blend it in, and that'll give you a nice color so you can get on the go that way. Of course, there's regular blushes, and I love powder blushes, but you can get gel blushes, cream blushes, you can get cheek stains, but I like the good old compact powder blushes. And you would do what, like you do with the other products, just take a nice brush, tap it in to the product, kind of dust off or tap off any excess, and you want to apply the blush starting with the apples of your cheeks and kind of going up towards the temple. You know, just kind of up like that. And blend it out when you get it applied so you don't have those streaks. I know a lot of people say to apply blush under the cheekbones, not on the apples, but just below. But I have read recently, especially for older women, but really for any woman, that if you apply your blush too low, it kind of visually drags your face down, pulls your face down, and you don't want to look like your face is drooping. You want to be looking like your face is at least alert and awake, even if you don't feel like it. So apply the blush starting with the apples and go up, and blend it out when you have it all applied. The last product is like a highlighting or an illuminating powder. This one here from Wet n Wild is their Mega Glow Illuminating Palette. This is in the shade Catwalk Pink, and it has several different tones in here that you can just, you know, use one at a time or two at a time, or just, you know, all of them blended at once. I take my new little brush I got from Ipsy, or a brush similar to this. It's kind of got a tapered head like that, but it's soft and pretty. And to apply my highlight, again, I just tap the brush into the product and then tap the excess off if I've got too much, and then go just right above the cheekbones, right above the cheekbones like that. You can even give a little bit around the temples if you want a little extra glow. And of course, you blend it out with your fluffy brush. When you get everything applied, always blend so you don't have streaks and lines and stuff like that. All right, everybody, I hope this was informative to you. Stay tuned for more videos. Please subscribe to my channel, and everyone have a wonderful weekend. Jesus loves you. I do too. See you next time. Bye-bye.